Hey guys, what's up? It's Julia and welcome back to my channel. I know a lot of you guys are interested in acting and hearing about what goes on behind the scenes. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a ton of my on-set stories, audition stories. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and let's just get into it. Okay, so my first story is from the first rehearsal of Dead to Me. So I had the opportunity to dance on the Netflix show Dead to Me. I'm pretty sure I was in episodes 6 and 10 of the first season and then episode 2 of the second season. And it was an amazing opportunity. I'm not in the third season, but I'm so excited to watch it when it comes out. Anyway, we had our first rehearsal towards the end of 2018, and this was my first ever TV job, my first dance job. I was so excited. About a week before our first rehearsal, there were horrific fires in Southern California, and my family and I were evacuated from our house because the fires were really close to our house and they were really, really scary. And this has happened a few times in the past, so we kind of knew the routine. We'd usually go to my grandma's house, spend the night, and then just come back to our house. This was not the case this time. The fires were really bad. When I found out that we were being evacuated, I didn't pack any clothes. I didn't think that I'd be gone from my house for more than a night. And I was wrong. We went to my grandma's house, which is like 15 minutes from us. We had our 2 dogs and our 2 cats with us. So at my grandma's house, it was my grandma, her 2 cats, my mom, my dad, my brother, me, our 2 dogs, and our 2 cats. And then at 3:30 in the middle of the night, we got evacuated from my grandma's house. So my dad decided to go back to our house because I don't know, he wanted to go back to our house even though the fires were really bad. And my grandma, my mom, my brother, and I got in the car at 3:30 in the morning and just started driving with 4 cats and 2 dogs. And mind you, this was a week before my first rehearsal for Dead to Me. So we got in the car, it is God knows what time, and we just started driving until we could find a hotel that would take 6 animals and 4 people. And we ended up spending like 3 nights there, and it was great. We had a great time and it all worked out, and we were very fortunate that our house was fine. The day came where I had my first rehearsal for Dead to Me, and it was my first rehearsal for my first TV project. It was a really big deal. And I was in Long Beach with no clothes. And I couldn't show up to the first rehearsal in like the same clothes that I've been wearing for 3 days that literally smelled like ashes. So my mom and I went to some store that was nearby, I think like a Rite Aid or something, I don't remember. But I just grabbed whatever they had, and then we drove from Long Beach to Millennium, which was where the rehearsal was at. And then I had my first rehearsal, and it was so much fun, and all of the kids were great, and I had the most amazing experience. But I definitely never could have imagined that I would be showing up to my first rehearsal for my first TV project literally in clothes that I had just gotten because I had been out of my house for 4 days because of fires. This was so crazy. So I got to be a part of a project called Crashed. Basically, it was a reality show for the Go90 app, which I don't think is around anymore. But it was a series where different public figures would surprise their fans and they would do an activity together. In my episode, Meg DeAngelis crashed my sleepover. I mean, it was, you know, it's all set up, but she crashed my sleepover, and then we had a really fun night with my friends, and it was super awesome. That video is on my channel. I'll link it down below if you want to watch. But here's the audition experience because it was crazy. A while ago, I got an audition. It said it was for a teen documentary about YouTube, I want to say. So I was like, okay. I mean, sometimes you get auditions and you literally have no idea what they're for, and you're just like, okay, and you show up and you do it. So my mom and I drove to LA, and I went in for this audition, and I saw a friend in the waiting room, which is always nice. And this audition was unlike other auditions I had experienced because I was basically just talking to the casting director about me and my life. And there were no sides, I wasn't acting, I was just, you know, telling her about me. I remember she was so nice. I left just feeling so happy, and I had no idea what the project was for. I just knew that I had a great experience in the audition room, and that was that. I think a few weeks went by and I found out that my friend booked it, but we still didn't know what it was. So then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't get it. Honestly, it was all a blur. And then we did find out that I was on avail, which means that they check your availability because they're considering you for the job. And that's always a really good sign, obviously. And so I was really excited. They were in contact with my mom the whole time, and she was like on the end of it, and I had no idea. So I think when they were checking avail, I was told like, oh, you know, we're not gonna go through with you. But my mom was dealing with it all behind the scenes because I had to be surprised. That's like the whole point of the show. A few weeks go by, I had no idea. One day my mom was like, oh yeah, so you booked it and you're gonna be on set set tomorrow. I'll pick you up from school at like 2 o'clock and you just have to wear your pajamas. That's literally all she told me. And I was like, okay. I swear to God, I had no idea what this is for. I literally can see myself sitting at my mirror and curling my hair and wearing my pajamas and being like, I'm about to go film something. I have no idea what it's for. And we get in the car and my mom gets off the exit to go to Starbucks. And this is like 1:30 or 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. And we never go to Starbucks. So I was like, what's going on? We pull up to Starbucks and I see 3 of my friends in their pajamas. And I was like, this isn't a coincidence. Like, what the heck? That was the first surprise. I had no idea there would be more. My mom had to reach out to a few of my friends to do this project with me. And so we picked them up at the Starbucks and then we met another one of my friends at the shoot. In the car, my mom was telling us how we had to, I don't know, like memorize some song that we were gonna be singing in the thing. Honestly, it was all such a blur and I was so confused. I couldn't even process that my friends were in the car. It was crazy. We get to the set and it was in a neighborhood and I remember it was at a really nice house and the street was like blocked off and there were all of these trailers and people. I thought there'd be other kids there. I didn't realize it was just us, so that was really cool. And then the whole night was a complete blur. It was so much fun. I kind of figured out that, okay, like this is the show, I'm being surprised, and then when Meg came it was super exciting and she was really nice. My mom had to be on the in of all of this and she had to be communicating with the producers and the director and everybody on the project to make sure that I would be surprised, because if I figured out the secret, then you know, it's crazy. I mean, sometimes you literally audition for something that's gonna turn into a booking and you get to experience it, and when you audition you have no idea what it's gonna be. And to me, that's part of the excitement of just being an actor and being in this industry, is because you literally never know what any opportunity is going to turn into. All right, now let's talk about the prom. I'm gonna share with you guys my entire audition experience for the prom. I know I've talked about this maybe on the subscriber Zooms, but I don't think I've shared this on my channel. This was a journey, oh my gosh. So the year was 2019, pre-COVID, and I just remember I was auditioning for so many musicals that year all over Southern California. We were driving for 2.5 hours each way for me to audition for all of these professional shows, and they were incredible productions, and I would, you know, get callbacks or whatever, but I was not getting into any of these shows. Now I know it was the universe just saying wait, because the most incredible opportunity of your life is just right around the corner. I think it was September and my dad had a business trip to go to New York. All my family lives in New York, so we go pretty often, but I don't usually get to go into the city because we're always seeing family. We thought that I would be in a show at the time, but my dad was like, hey, you're not busy, do you want to just tag along with me? I was sitting in the terminal about to board our flight, and that's when I got the first audition from my agent for the prom. I just remember it said Netflix, Ryan Murphy, the prom, and I was like, oh my God, this is huge. The thought of being in a room with Casey Nicola, the choreographer, I was like blown away. On the plane, I watched the Tony's performance of the prom on Broadway. The first submission was a singing self-tape, so I was watching clips from the prom, I was thinking about what I wanted to sing. I get to my aunt's house and I decided to sing, I sang Stupid with Love from Mean Girls, and I filmed it in her basement, and it actually totally worked out with like the lighting and everything. It looked really professional. And then I sent that tape to my singing teacher and she was like, no, do it again. But then my dad and I had moved into a hotel and the lighting was horrific. There was no place, I didn't bring a tripod or lighting or anything. So I had to stack my camera on my suitcases. I was actually ironically vlogging this day, so I'll link that New York vlog down below. I didn't address that audition was for the prom, but now you guys know. I filmed Stupid with Love. I was belting my face off. I sent that to my singing teacher. She gave it the okay. I was really proud of the tape, which always feels good. And then I sent it off. That night, I saw Hadestown on Broadway, and then the next night I saw Mean Girls, which was such a full circle moment that I didn't even realize at the time because I'd be working with Casey Nicola and some people from the Mean Girls company. I just remember being at the stage door because I'm like the most nerdy theater kid. I love being at the stage door and getting to see the actors come out and just witness all of that magic. It wasn't even like I thought the prom was a possibility, honestly. Like, it was such a huge project, and I was just excited for the opportunity to audition. I come home from New York, 2 weeks go by, I was doing homework at my desk, and I got an email saying that I was going to the next round, which was an in-person dance audition with Casey Nicola. I was so excited. Also, it was at Paramount on the lot, and I'd never been before. I was actually performing in a show that week. I had shows in the morning, and then on that Wednesday, I had the show, went to an audition, and it didn't go well. I got cut. I was sad about it. Sometimes it just hurts more than others. And I remember just walking down the street on the phone with my mom in tears. I was just so beaten down over all of the no's that I was getting. I had no idea what was to come, and that's what's really cool looking back on this whole experience. Anyway, the next day I had the same routine. I had my show in the morning. They were doing the callbacks multiple sessions, and so I had to go in the latest one possible because I had this show in the morning. My mom picked me up. We raced across town in LA traffic at rush hour. We got to Paramount. It was so surreal to be there, and I just remember getting into the waiting room. I saw some friends, of course. It was definitely different than I was expecting because usually at dance auditions, there's a billion people. There were maybe like 50 or 60 people, which might sound like a lot, but really isn't for this kind of project. I think they also had like 4 groups of dancers, so there were probably well over 200 dancers who went to the callback. The lot is huge. If you guys haven't been to Paramount, it is huge. We walked to a rehearsal room, which is actually where we ended up rehearsing for the prom. We auditioned in that room. That's where I saw Casey Nicola, a lot of the other people on the team. I honestly don't remember what was going through my head when I was walking into that room. I don't think I understood or realized the magnitude of what this experience would be. We learned the combo. We learned original Broadway choreography to Love Thy Neighbor, and we learned it so fast. I remember that. It was just like you either picked it up or you didn't. I was definitely not the first person to sign in, and usually how it works is they call you to dance in the order that you signed in. Somehow my headshot got to the top of the stack and I was in the first group to go, and no one's like doing it with you on the side. And I'm pretty sure I was in the front of the group of 4 too. So it was Casey Nicola and the entire team sitting against the mirror, and there was a huge camera because obviously they had to record to like show the network executives. I was definitely shocked that I went in the first group, and I just didn't want to mess up the choreo, and I just wanted to have fun. And I remember that was my thought after the dance, was like, okay, you didn't mess up, and that was fun. So yeah, that was that. All I told my mom was I didn't mess up, so that's good. But it's not like I knew, I'm like, oh my God, this is the project. I really had no idea. So that was Thursday. Friday, I had my show again, and I got off stage, checked my email, and saw that I was on Avail. And I remember the email said, Casey Nicola likes the following dancers for the prom, and this was from my agent, so the dancers who are part of my agency. And reading that was like, I still look back at that email and it just it's so crazy. It's so crazy. And then it said that I would need to go in on Monday to read lines, and I had no idea that I would be reading lines. I had driven myself to this show, so I called my mom and we were just freaking out, and the entire drive home, which was like an hour, I just was in disbelief. And I was seeing a show with a friend that night. It was just a whirlwind of a week, honestly. Monday comes along and I go in to read. I think I had 1 line. Actually, this is an interesting behind the scenes secret. All the dancers had to audition for this, like, I don't know what it was. I guess like a student that would have a line, and I'm pretty sure that got cut from the movie. But I went in to read, it was 1 line, so it was super quick. I took a dance class that night, and for the rest of the week, just stressed out. Because that's what you do when you're really, really close to something that you really want. And I'm working on that now. I've definitely gotten a lot better on the waiting, because that can absolutely eat you alive. I didn't hear anything Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday comes along. I knew that rehearsals started like the next week. So I was devastated on Friday. I woke up just so sad. I really thought I didn't get it. I went to my voice lesson and I was miserable. During my voice lesson is when I got the email, but obviously I didn't see it because I was in a voice lesson. So after my lesson ended, I saw my mom texted me OMG with a bunch of exclamation marks. So I checked my email, saw the email, and then I just sat in my car and cried and called my relatives and friends. I love talking about my experiences, and I feel like I have so many stories to share. So definitely comment down below if you have more questions. Something that you might not know is that Kerry Washington wasn't originally in the finale. We never rehearsed with her, and I think I saw in an interview that she saw us all rehearsing and she just really wants to be a part of it, and so they added her in, which is super cool. We weren't even really like told that she was gonna be in it. It just kind of happened. and I was fortunate that I got to be like really close to her in a lot of the dance numbers, and she's such a phenomenal actress, and it was just amazing getting to see her work because I got to watch a few of her scenes. Not only did we have these monster cameras in the middle of all of our formations, but now we had, you know, a principal actor who I was kind of dancing around, and that definitely shifted some formations that we had worked out. And that's why every opportunity that I have to be on set or just to learn something new is so valuable. There's always going to be kind of curveballs that are thrown at you. That's literally just part of being on set. You can't, you know, kick or hit these huge cameras that are in your face, and especially when they're getting close-ups of the actors, you know, there's just a lot of things you have to think about on top of remembering the choreography. I just found on my phone something really fun. I did a few like vlogs just for myself to have on the first day of filming the prom. Those were not meant for the internet, but I think they just really encapsulate how I was feeling, so I'm gonna put those in right here. Okay, it's now 5:14. We're in the car. I don't think I've ever been in the car this early. Like setting my alarm to 4 o'clock, I think that was a first.
Yeah, that's pretty early.
Because I know for Desby we've had like early mornings, but I don't think it was ever like leave the house at 5:15. I like having to wake up really early to go to set because I feel really productive, because all of a sudden it's like 8 o'clock and you've done so much. You're like, oh my god, it's like 8 in the morning. But this is a little too early for me.
It's too early for the camera.
No, this is just for me. This isn't for YouTube. Feeling good. Got my shoes. Let's do this.
So many people.
No, it's a video.
Oh, it's a video.
There's so many people here. Like, it's crazy.
It's a lot.
What I remember from the first day of filming was that we obviously were called really early, and base camp, which is where all the trailers are. If you're filming on location, then you travel to where the set is, but base camp is where the food is usually and all the trailers and everything, and then usually hair and makeup. That was at the Santa Monica Pier. There were so many people, so many extras. We all got into our costumes. It just started to feel really real. And then we drove to set and we filmed so many things that day that never made the cut. We filmed like a little slow dancing scene where literally all of the dancers, and I think all of the extras too, were just slow dancing, and it was supposed to be like in the background of a scene. And I'm pretty sure that never made the cut. That's a fun fact, because we did that for hours for sure. A lot of the times you film things that don't make the cut. So when I was watching the movie for the first time, I had no idea what was gonna be in it. I'm trying to think of other like fun behind the scenes secrets. I don't know, just being on set in general is a lot of hurry up and wait, which just is kind of how it works because it takes a long time to set the cameras up and everything like that. It's really fun when the people around you are really nice. There were different dance groups and all of the extras, and it was just such an amazing environment of people who are all passionate about the same thing. And that's what's also, I think, really important to remember when you're on set, is that you never know who you're gonna meet, and you never know who you're gonna end up having a conversation with and then working with in the future. Like Kiara, for example, who played Ruby Dee in the J Team, we not only did the prom together, but we shared a trailer, which was totally random and just obviously ironic because then we worked together. The last day of filming was so emotional. I think we were all just completely dead and overtired, so we're actually really stimulated even though we all probably slept for a week after that. I think we wrapped at like 1 a.m. the night before and then got there at 1 p.m. the next day, and then I don't know what time we wrapped, but after we finished that finale, all of us, including the principals, including the crew, we got into this huge huddle and just started singing "We Are the Champions." I'll put the video right here. It was magical. It was just the most, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just one of those moments that I'll take with me forever. This story is pretty crazy, honestly. I definitely did not see any of this coming. I don't know if I would call this a manifestation story, but it's definitely one of those reminders that the universe is always looking out for you and that everything happens for a reason, even if you can't see it in the moment. So this was back in, I don't remember, honestly. I don't remember the year, but I auditioned for a professional production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat at the professional theater in my hometown, which I love with all of my heart. And not only was it a musical, but it was going to be a hip-hop version of Joseph with choreographer Dave Scott. So it was like both pieces of my heart. Yeah, it was perfect. I don't remember how many rounds of auditions there were, but I made it to the final round. I didn't get it and I was really, really sad, but you know, you kind of move on because you have to. Because I didn't get that opportunity, I was able to be an assistant choreographer for a community theater production of Pinocchio. And I think at the same time I was doing Pinocchio with Always on Stage, which is the special needs theater group that I'm a mentor with. So it was a lot of Pinocchio. But anyway, oh, I was in 10th grade. I don't remember what year that was, but I was like 16. And then I was also on a dance team, so I was going to a studio. I was the assistant choreographer for Pinocchio at a community theater, and then I was also a mentor in Pinocchio with Always on Stage. I'm pretty sure I was doing all of that. I'm leaving one of our first rehearsals for Pinocchio, the community theater production that I was the assistant choreographer for. I wanna say this is like a month after I didn't get into Joseph. And I walk out and my mom comes to pick me up because I was going to my next rehearsal for Pinocchio, and she was like, "You got into Joseph. I think one of the girls got hurt and I was like the next on line if someone were to have to drop out for whatever reason." So I got it. I'd never experienced that before where I didn't get something and then I ended up getting it. And I was still able to make Pinocchio work. So then my schedule turned into school, dance at the studio, going to Pinocchio rehearsal where I was the assistant choreographer, and then going to Joseph rehearsal, and those rehearsals were like 7 to 11 each night. I remember after that Pinocchio rehearsal, when I found out that I got into Joseph, I went to my other Pinocchio rehearsal. I think it was Tech Week for Always on Stage, and I told my friends there and I was so excited. Now that I think about it, even though I was so devastated when I initially didn't get into Joseph, I'm so grateful that it happened the way that it did, because then I was able to be an assistant choreographer, and that was such an amazing experience. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had gotten into Joseph. I wouldn't have taken that opportunity. Yeah, it's a really good reminder that everything does happen for a reason, even if you can't see it in the moment. I have so many stories, and I could even apply that to my life now. The last thing I'm gonna talk about in this video is something that I don't know if many people realize, but when you're on set, you are still auditioning. You are constantly auditioning, even if you are filming a project. When I was on set for the J Team, I had a number of auditions, and actually during our press shoot, which I did vlog, that will be linked in the description, that day I'm pretty sure we were shooting for about 8 or 9 hours, and it was exhausting. Literally one of the best days of my life, but like completely exhausting. And I had an audition to do that night. So after the shoot, I raced to the hotel. My mom went and got us dinner, and I had a coaching session on Zoom with my coach, and I filmed a self-tape. It's really honestly difficult to find the balance of living in the moment, especially when you're in the middle of a dream opportunity, when you're constantly thinking about and working towards the next thing. I want to do my absolute best to live completely in the moment no matter what I'm doing. When you're constantly auditioning, that can be tricky. Okay, those are all of my stories for this video. Again, comment down below if you want me to turn this little, I don't know what we're gonna call it, like on-set stories or actors chat, I don't know. We could turn this into a series, and it could be like a little Q&A, or I could just talk about different audition experiences, or I don't know, stuff like that. Obviously, I love talking about this kind of stuff, and we can definitely talk about more theater. I want to talk about more theater on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on those post notifications, because I post a new video every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 AM PST. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!